Recognizing triggers, how to prevent hidden and long-lasting cravings. Why understanding triggers matters. In recovery from addiction, one of the most important lessons we learn is how to recognize and understand triggers. Triggers are situations, emotions, memories, environments, or social contexts that awaken the desire to use alcohol or other substances. They are not random, they are deeply connected to our past experiences, habits, and emotional patterns. During formal addiction treatment, learning about triggers is often a central theme. Therapists, counselors, and peer groups spend countless hours helping people identify what makes them vulnerable to relapse. This is not theoretical knowledge, it is practical survival knowledge for life in recovery. Without actively learning to recognize and manage triggers, long-term sobriety becomes extremely difficult. What makes triggers particularly dangerous is that they do not always cause an immediate urge to drink or use drugs. Sometimes they create a slow, creeping emotional state, frustration, sadness, longing, or resentment, that builds over days or weeks. This delayed effect is often called craving, and it can quietly lead a person back into relapse if left unaddressed. To better understand this process, let us look at a real-life example, the story of Gregor. Gregor's story, 2 years of sobriety. Gregor had been sober for just over 2 years. By many standards, this is a significant achievement. He regularly attended a support group, where he shared his struggles, listened to others, and remained connected to people who understood addiction. He was not perfect in his recovery, no one is, but he was determined. His sobriety was supported not only by therapy and meetings, but also by his own stubborn commitment. He often said, "I refuse to go back to that life." This resolve helped him through difficult moments. Yet beneath this determination, Gregor still felt a deep sense of loss. He missed being outdoors in the sun, traveling, experiencing new places, and feeling excitement about life. He longed for adventure, change, and social connection. However, many of these desires were tied to memories of drinking. In the past, travel, cafes, celebrations, and warm summer evenings had all been associated with alcohol. His brain had learned to connect enjoyment with drinking, and that connection did not disappear simply because he stopped. The trip to Greece. During the New Year holidays, Gregor decided to avoid risky situations at home by going on a group trip to Greece. His intention was good, he wanted distance from familiar bars, drinking friends, and tempting routines. He traveled by bus with acquaintances who did not know about his addiction. This did not worry him, because no one drank alcohol during the journey. At first, the trip felt refreshing. He saw historical sites, beautiful landscapes, and vibrant cities. Yet something felt different from before. In the past, traveling had meant sitting in cafes, drinking strong coffee with a shot of mastica or ouzo, laughing for hours, and feeling carefree. Now, he could still sit in cafes, but without alcohol, the experience felt empty. Every street, restaurant, and seaside view reminded him of times when alcohol flowed freely. Instead of feeling joy, he felt nostalgia mixed with sadness. His surroundings had become a mirror of what he believed he had lost. New Year's Eve, the emotional turning point. The turning point came during the New Year's Eve celebration at a large restaurant. The atmosphere was festive. Music played, glasses were raised, and people laughed loudly. His friends toasted with wine, champagne, and cocktails. Gregor sat silently and watched. He felt excluded, not because others rejected him, but because he could not participate in the way he once had. A bitter thought crept in, why can they drink freely, but I cannot? He became angry. Angry at his addiction. Angry at life. Angry at what he perceived as unfairness. He knew that even one sip could pull him back into active drinking. This knowledge protected him from acting impulsively, but emotionally, he felt trapped, deprived, and resentful. In that moment, the trigger was not a bottle of alcohol alone. The trigger was a combination of environment, memories, social comparison, and emotional isolation. The hidden aftermath, delayed craving. Gregor returned home from Greece feeling torn apart inside. He was sober, but emotionally exhausted, frustrated, and depressed. He began thinking obsessively about how unfair his life was. Other people could drink casually with lunch or at celebrations without consequences, while he had to abstain forever. He mourned his past drinking days, even though they had been destructive. This is a crucial moment in recovery psychology. Although Gregor did not drink in Greece, the emotional experience planted a delayed craving inside him. The real danger did not occur during the holiday, it emerged afterward, in his thoughts and feelings. He began to grieve not just alcohol itself, but his former identity, the carefree traveler, the social drinker, the person who could fit in. This kind of internal struggle can be more dangerous than a direct temptation in a bar or store. What saved Gregor from relapse? Despite his emotional turmoil, Gregor did not drink. What prevented his relapse was not only willpower, it was support. Immediately after returning home, he went to his support group meeting and told them everything: his anger, his sadness, his sense of unfairness, and his longing for the past. By speaking openly, he released some of the emotional pressure that had been building inside him. Other group members validated his feelings. They reminded him that many people in recovery experience similar struggles. Talking did not magically erase his pain, but it reduced its intensity. His depressive thoughts softened. His mind became calmer. He felt less alone. This step was critical, naming the problem instead of hiding it. Immediate versus hidden triggers. Most people think of triggers as sudden moments. Seeing a bottle of wine in a store. Smelling alcohol in a bar. Walking past a favorite pub. Remembering shots of liquor with coffee. Seeing friends drink beer with pizza. These are immediate triggers. They can provoke a quick urge, but with preparation, they can be managed. A person can leave the store, avoid the bar, or distract themselves. However, prolonged exposure to risky situations is different. Gregor survived the trip without drinking, but the emotional strain accumulated. The real craving appeared days later, quietly, slowly, and almost invisibly. This is called delayed craving, and it is one of the most dangerous relapse pathways. Why long-term triggers are more dangerous. When a trigger is brief, we can confront it head-on. But when a person is exposed to stress, temptation, or emotional discomfort over a longer period, like a holiday, family visit, or stressful work environment, the mind may cope temporarily. Then later, when things seem safe, the craving surfaces. This is why relapse often happens not during the stressful event itself, but afterward, when the person is alone, tired, or emotionally drained. To prevent this, recovery requires awareness, reflection, and timely action. What to do after a risky situation. When someone realizes they have been exposed to strong triggers, they should take immediate steps. 1. Rest and stabilize emotions. Fatigue increases vulnerability to relapse. 2. Reflect honestly. Ask: what exactly triggered me? What did I feel? What did I miss from my drinking days? 3. Attend a support group. Talking with others prevents isolation. 4. Speak with a therapist. Professional guidance helps unpack deep emotional patterns. Without these steps, the internal grieving for alcohol can grow stronger and eventually push someone back into drinking. From loss to growth. Recovery is not only about avoiding alcohol, it is about learning to live fully without it. Gregor's story teaches us that sobriety does not erase emotional struggles. Instead, it invites us to face them more honestly. Recognizing triggers, especially hidden ones, is a lifelong skill. When we learn to see our emotional reactions as signals rather than enemies, we gain power over our recovery. Final message for the viewer. Triggers are not signs of weakness, they are part of being human in recovery. What matters is not whether you feel tempted, but how you respond. If you have recently been in a risky situation, pause. Talk. Reflect. Seek support. Your recovery is not measured by perfection, but by your willingness to return to help when you need it. And remember, every time you recognize a trigger instead of acting on it, you are becoming stronger.